everyone. Hi. Apologies, I'll be giving my presentation in English. So, thank you for joining today. I'd like to talk about the power of imagination to create the future we want. So, why does the eye see a thing more clearly in dreams than the imagination being awake? Asked Leonardo da Vinci. So close your eyes and imagine it is so much easier. The mind is less cluttered. I've been recently inspired by Rob Hopkins' book called From What Is to What If, which argues that asking what-if questions can revive our collective imagination and drive cultural and societal change. It argues that our inability to respond to all the negativities that surround us is because over time we lost creative subjects in our education, such as art, and therefore we lost our ability to imagine. I'm sorry. This is what I meant. So today, I'd like to ask some what-if questions, such as, what if we put imagination at the heart of our thinking when designing our cities? What if we use the potential of our urban landscapes as a catalyst for change? Where and how can opportunities take place? There's a lot of negativity that surrounds us. Economic impacts of climate change due to rising temperatures, flooding, drought, and other extreme weather events stressing infrastructure and landscapes in our cities and rural areas. The collapse of the world's biodiversity, and news on lives of humans and other species due to climate and environmental crisis. Social inequity and the unraveling of democracy, to name a few. But we're longing for a better future, and we're curious. We're asking the question, is there a way to turn around the many problems, challenges we're facing? So rather than seeing these challenges as obstacles, what if we reframe these challenges as opportunities that we could embrace when forming the next generation of cities? Cities that are developed around nature-based resilience, health and well-being, inclusive in its making and authentic. What if we build our cities in a way that uses nature-based resilience as a design driver? The urban landscape is the largest infrastructure that any city has. It is continuous, interconnected, and unlike other urban systems, uniquely capable of delivering ecosystem services at scale. This makes it not a luxury or commodity, but an absolute necessity for life itself. If envisioned, re-engineered, and redesigned, the urban landscape can make our cities truly climate ready. And landscape, as we landscape architects know, isn't just a decoration. It is critical urban infrastructure. It cools microclimates, manages stormwater, captures carbon, supports biodiversity, and supports both physical and mental health. But it can only deliver that value if we treat it with the same seriousness and investment we give to any other essential system. And there are many cities like Singapore and Copenhagen use flood resilience and ecological connectivity as structuring principles for their master plans, as in the examples of Bishan Ang Mo Kio Park in Singapore, addressing Singapore's dual need for water supply independence and flash flood management, also delivering multiple benefits, including biodiversity, creating recreational space, reducing urban heat island effect, and improving community cohesion. And Transingaplatz is a public green in Copenhagen, which functions both as a public gathering place during dry weather and as a water reservoir during times of intense precipitation. And in Shanghai, planners are identifying different types of performative landscapes, from parks as stormwater retention areas to revitalized rivers to urban forests, and then connecting these systems. And this connectivity supports biodiversity, enables ecological resilience, and at the same time enhances human health and well-being. Shanghai Midtown Green Loop is a competition we just participated in China. It's a 100-kilometer circular green belt designed to link the city's dense urban core with its outer areas. The plan integrates wetlands, forests, meadows, and waterfronts with urban functions to foster ecological regeneration and redefine the relationship between city and nature. Its framework is built around 3 themes: ecological connectivity, resilient waterways, and low-carbon lifestyles, and supported by features such as rain gardens, community green roofs, and a slow traffic loop for pedestrians and cyclists. There are 5 distinct sectors that are planned, each leveraging unique local resources from university-linked ecological parks to paddy fields, port connections, and low-carbon office zones. A key demonstration project in the southwest enhances waterways with hydrophilic landscapes, stormwater resilience, and multifunctional recreational spaces. Sorry. Moving on to another part of the world where we have the opposite climatic conditions from Shanghai, we find ourselves in the outskirts of Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where we developed this master plan proposal for the King Khalid International Airport that applied a fusion of natural systems. Together with Nick and Sekei Architects team, we won the competition to achieve the first carbon-negative airport in the world. It displays technology and art within the landscape. And our methodology was based on the holistic concept of virtuous cycles with 5 component categories of energy, water, materials, food, and CO2. The airport will be self-sufficient with all its energy generated on site, most water recycled on site, and most of its arable food produced on site, and all waste recycled and reused. And Landscape is utilized as a performative infrastructure to support these functions. Within the 280 square kilometer of airport site, we designated areas for desert greening, for CO2 capture and sequestration. For decarbonizing proposed, our methods were based on academic research and current practices. They included enhanced rock weathering to embed CO2 in carbonate mineral form, direct air capture technology which extracts CO2 from the air. And a fun fact, one machine can capture the same amount of CO2 as 40,000 trees. We use biochar, which holds CO2 in an insoluble form of carbon and enriches the fertility of soils. This in turn will support more desert greening with proposed xeriscape planting that is authentic. And renewable energy resources laid out in a geometry inspired by circular crop irrigation circles, and together these combine to create a carbon-negative airport. Second question, what if we build our cities in a way that can serve health and well-being first, rather than economic growth? When people feel happy about their life, their basic needs are met, it then impacts the communities that they thrive in, and this goes all the way to the global level. COVID did us a favor and created awareness of why public open spaces, our landscapes, are so important to have. So landscape design for Yorkville Park in Toronto, Canada is a great example. It brings the native Canadian landscape into the city. Our park is divided into a series of zones varying in width and filled with a collection of plant communities ranging from upland, lowland, wetland communities. Native plant material provides longevity, variety through the changing seasons, and food and habitat for songbirds. It actively supports mental health, active lifestyles, and social connection, and it combats sedentary lifestyles, pollution, and stress through better access to park, walkable distance from all communities adjacent. Growing populations concentrating in cities create pressure on housing, infrastructure, and public space. However, compact cities create opportunities for walkability, proximity, and vibrant street life, and we can balance densification with the need for accessible, high-quality open spaces and prevent spatial inequalities and segregation between well-served and underserved neighborhoods. Vertical and shared spaces can foster new forms of community living and urban commons. For another project in Beijing, China, northern suburbs, our landscape structure the master plan. In addition to integrating ecology and innovation, we created a public open space at the heart of this new community. It's got a play area, a central water feature, seating areas and gardens for play and for biodiversity. People use to promenade during hot summer nights, but it also helps to clean water that's collected from the rooftops and surrounding surfaces. And community and sports center adjacent to Central Green invites the community to gather around the Central Green. Well-designed landscapes reduce stress, improve mental health, and promote community cohesion, but developers who integrate inclusive green space gain stronger local support and faster project momentum. Social value metrics now matter in real estate. Jobs, training, community engagement all link back to the landscape. For Vienna, Austria, our awarded North Hospital project, we transformed the hospital grounds into a healing public park. The 129,000 square gardens are open to the public. The site was specifically chosen for the project is nestled within the landscape, surrounded by existing woodland, and it replaced a small car park. Our main goals for the landscape were to create a clear, direct link between the hospital and the Maggie Center and small, intimate spaces along the journey, and to improve biodiversity with a green roof and layered planting scheme. The inspiration for the densely planted landscape was partially drawn from the nearby Hampstead Heath and its abundant native woodlands. We wanted to create a landscape atmosphere that feels like a natural extension of the Heath, our very own small secluded woodland. And another key concept was the ripple wall. It's beautiful, undulating, and calming down, and it wraps and embraces the users. It creates a feeling of safety and protection, even privacy, which was something very important for the project. So the patients will leave the hospital. Many of them will have just received their results. They would walk through the garden path where we allowed for a slow journey with multiple resting points and stops, which will give time to reflect and prepare before entering the Maggie Center for future guidance. And eventually would arrive in the main entrance of the garden with various small-scale intimate spaces, plenty of seating and lush planting, which we called alcoves, and they're immersed in pockets of green. So as the building is nestled in its larger landscape, we try to bring the same concept to a human scale by creating these small-scale garden spaces. This immersive and intimate experience for the users also reduces the impact of the nearby road and car park. We also integrated stormwater strategies, including rain gardens, managed water movement around the site, and we selected low-maintenance native woodland plants or the planting palette to cope with the site's limited sunlight. And the gradual rise and plant layers allow people to ascend gently and quickly escape the nearby road into a green and relaxing space. So this next project is based within the rapidly developing urban context of Canary Wharf, London. Citibank headquarters is a 55-story tower project that is designed to be an exemplary green building by refurbishing the existing Citibank tower. It provides 9,000 London staff and the bank's EMA headquarters in workplace for the future. It's currently under construction, and our biophilic design of the interior landscape will support employee well-being and meet clients' ambitious sustainability goals. To maximize the green connections and encourage a sensory experience for employees and visitors, we provided different zones within the 55 floors of the building, working within the constraints of the architectural proposal. So we created winter gardens, atrium gardens, interior and vertical gardens, each with its unique character and planting palettes selected to suit the different environmental conditions of each area. At the level 17, the High Street Canteen presents an indoor-outdoor winter garden in the north atrium. This features a 3-story high tree-like sculpture covered with flowering climbers. And at level 41, we have 8 winter garden atriums, which give a sense of respite and continuous connection with nature from all the meeting rooms and workspaces on the floor. and they will be visible from outside and below, and this will enhance the iconic image of the city group's tower as a green beacon. At street level, a remarkable 40-meter long external living wall, it accompanies the visitor along the south elevation of the tower. It's patterned with silhouettes of tree stems, and light levels mimic those within a dense forest understory layer. And we're also working on a custom-designed bug hotel made of CNC solid stone to make room for the insects within this green wall. The third question: what if we build our cities that are inclusive to all? Public spaces can be designed as platforms for social mixing, breaking down barriers of class, gender, age, culture, and ability. Designing spaces that foster community and civic engagement rather than exclusion, addressing displacement and gentrification pressures that can push vulnerable communities away, which we heard in the previous lecture, from revitalized areas. So inclusive design becomes a tool for social equity and civic trust. Place de la République is in Paris, located at the 11th arrondissement. And once a vibrant and active urban plaza, over time it had become a congested and fractured transitional space for around 114,000 daily subway commuters surrounded by busy roads. All that remained were the statue of Marianne, the personification of the French Republic, and London plane trees in various states of health. The square had lost its local character and urban significance. It was a noisy, dirty, polluted, and dangerous intersection, and certainly no place for people to linger or meet. And a key part of the project was working with the city's traffic engineers within the political framework to reroute the traffic. So working with TVK architects in Paris, we achieved agreement on abandoning the traffic circle, allowing us to connect the island back to the city, while retaining the historic footprint of the plaza. The square is above a subway with multiple metro entries, therefore we had to consider structural weight as well as connections to all the existing infrastructure. And by relocating the bus stops closer to the metro station and away from the statue of Marianne, we created an open stage with Marianne front and center. And the London plane trees, they nicely frame the statue, where children can play in the water feature that can be drained during events, providing flexibility. By closing the connecting street, Rue de Faubourg du Temple, to the right of the image, we created a continuous pedestrian corridor that is true extension of the neighborhood, with a total of 2 hectares of pedestrian space. The traffic has been routed through the shaded area of the square to free up a large pedestrian area in the sunny part. We worked closely with the City Parks Department to preserve all the healthy trees and replanted new ones to increase shading for outdoor thermal comfort in hot summer months and reduce urban heat island on site. From 83 trees on the esplanade and 142 around the perimeter, there are now 97 on the esplanade and 154 around the perimeter. And this extra vegetation helped to maintain a more even temperature for year-round enjoyment of the square. In the summer, breezes are cooled by the sheets of water in the center and west of the esplanade. In the winter, cold winds are mitigated by the thicker vegetation to the north. In hot summer months, it is full of people across all age groups, cultures, and demographics. Many vibrant and diverse urban programs, such as weekend and evening markets, rock concert to film festivals, from summer festival to winter ice skating, take place on the square. And we also have flexible furniture where people can freely move around as they wish. And this exciting project restored the Place, as it is now fondly called, to its civic role as a plaza where people can relax, eat, walk, and perform, and exercise their right to voice political opinions. Another project is from Shanghai, Fuxing Island North Park, which is a major urban regeneration project in the center of Shanghai. Its landscape design focuses on reshaping the city's waterfront to serve both ecological and social needs. And the project emphasizes climate resilience, creating an adaptive and flexible shoreline. And at the same time, it provides citizens with a vibrant public waterfront for leisure and recreation. A key aspect of the design is the preservation and reuse of the island's rich industrial heritage. And many industrial relics have been carefully integrated into the new landscape. Citizens can become co-designers and co-stewards, shifting from consultation to active participation, and the use of digital platforms and participatory processes are helping to democratize decision-making about urban space. So our work currently is being exhibited to the public, inviting feedback and engagement from local community. It is essential to engage citizens in the co-creation and stewardship of public space so that they feel ownership. And it helps social sustainability of place. Fushing Island North Park, with government approval and funding secured, is scheduled to be completed within the next 2 years. And final question. What if we build cities that are authentic? Maintaining local character and heritage in the face of globalization and rapid change is another challenge. Designing spaces that reflect pluralism, storytelling, and cultural resilience. Avoiding placeless or generic designs that weaken civic attachment. Culture is always present. It is embedded in people's everyday lives, whether it's commonly shared or not. And as designers, our role is to study it, amplify it, and to make it visible to those who might not recognize it. And there is the opportunity to design places that tell stories, celebrate heritage, and express local identity, and move away from generic, placeless designs toward authentic, resilient, and cultural landscapes. Zigong is a fascinating riverfront city in central China along the Fuxi River between Chongqing and Chengdu. We were faced with the challenge to connect the city back to the river, as it was disconnected due to a busy transport network, as in many waterfront cities. Also, the Fuxi River is highly polluted due to industrial activities, but it is part of the city's culture with their annual dragon boat races and festivals. So we have transformed and enlivened the waterfront with a park, a blue space, and we introduced coastal resilience solutions. In our proposal, we celebrated the connection between the city, river, and its cultural heritage. Inspired by the world-famous Zigong Fossil Museum, we used large-scale abstractions of dinosaur ribs and incorporated the dragon, both a symbol, national symbol, and a reference to the area's Dragon Boat Festival. And the meandering form of the Fuxi River informed the pathways leading visitors down to viewing platforms and mooring areas that host these traditional races and lantern festivals. We also looked at large-scale water-sensitive design strategies to help to address river pollution, including a network of green filtration zones across the wider urban area to clean stormwater before it reaches the river. The first phase of the Zigong project, a 500-meter stretch of the 1.5-kilometer master plan, has opened in late 2019. And even though it was just the beginning, it transformed how people engage with the water. The sculptural form of the landscape, it sweeps along the river's edge, its bold and linear gestures, guiding movement, drawing people in. They emerge out of the sculptural form we design as one walks through. It invites exploration, revealing new views and textures and moments of pause. And once forgotten and cut off from daily life, the riverfront now breathes again, a living spine that draws the city to its edge. And here you see people stroll, pause, they gather, children, they chase reflections on the water, and we compose a journey of discovery, a series of unfolding moments where landscape, art, and community meet. And at night, the amphitheater awakens, light dances across the surface, and the city gathers to celebrate by the water's edge. So it was transformed from an isolated and disconnected waterfront into an amazing active water edge with colors, art, and activities, which fosters interaction, inclusivity, and a sense of belonging. So the waterfront park reconnected the city with nature. So lastly, I asked this question to AI. How will landscape be experienced and perceived in the future, which then will define its new meaning? In the hype of technology and AI threatening taking over our world, what would be the new definition of landscape? So AI drew me a picture of the future and answered, perhaps the horizon would be alive and green, buildings cloaked in vegetation, wind turbines softened by spiraling plants, and fields that merge seamlessly with the city. The built and natural world would blur. The next generation of cities and public spaces must juggle resilience, equity, and adaptability, ensuring they serve as platforms for both survival and flourishing in uncertain times. But rather than just meeting challenges, cities can transform them into design innovations that redefine urban life, but only if we put imagination at the heart of thinking about the future. Well, thank you.